The Atlas mountain range spans 3 countries from the coast of Morocco, the vast interior of Algeria, into northern Tunisia. Today, these mountains are home to 400 endemic species of flora exclusive to Morocco, and many neat reptiles, mammals, and birds. In the last 2,000 years, human activity has increased in North Africa, with plenty of civilizations developing, and this has led to huge damage to megafauna populations in these regions. The Atlas Mountains was home to the last relic populations of these species, and in this video I would like to cover them. So in this next segment I call it like the Hartebeest, but it's actually called the Hartebeest. I don't know why I pronounced it this way. I have a little bit of a problem with this, so I'm just acknowledging it so those of you in the comments can understand. I think the tragedy of North Africa can be best explained through the historic decline of the Bubal Hartebeest. This animal was crucial to North Africa's food chain, comprising much of the Barbary Lions' prey, which we will get into later. The animal can be distinguished by its unique U-shaped horns, and they would also at one point have gathered in herds of hundreds to travel across Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. In the 1700s, the animals were recorded to still be thriving in Morocco and still present in much of their northeastern range. However, they were still having a sharp decline in the rest of North Africa. Colonialism is going to be a huge aspect of this video, and I would not like to underplay the pure destruction brought about by the French conquest of Algeria. Around 500,000 to 1 million, or 1/3 of Algerians died due to the violence and brutality of this period. In the central Atlas region, soldiers needed to be fed, so the Bubal Hartebeest was a convenient food source. And so for 70 years, these animals were killed, for supplies and food. By 1902, the last Bubal Hartebeest in Tunisia was shot dead. The last recorded herd contained 15 animals, with all but 3 being shot in 1917. This marked the end to any hope for survival. Though many observed the decline of the animals, in some regions it seems they clung on to survival, with there being no real solid evidence of this outside of some writing. The odd thing about the extinction of these animals is that in previous years before 1917 they had been recorded as having healthy and plentiful populations, meaning it was likely a sharp decline. Now moving on to our next animal, the Atlas bear. The Atlas bear is incredibly unique for it being the only African species of bear, and for its contribution to Roman culture. Though we have confirmed ranges within the Atlas Mountains, legends such as the Nandi bear have existed in East Africa, suggesting at one point its range may have spread all along the South Mediterranean coast, though this has not been confirmed. The Atlas bear was said to have lived for around 25 years, being up to 9 feet long and weighing around 1,000 pounds. Now for some history. Romans loved the sport of venatio, where a human and an animal would be put in an amphitheatre and made to fight each other to the death. And as the supply of bears declined in Europe, and had been for a long time, the executive decision was made to look for sources elsewhere in the glorious Roman Empire. This would eventually lead to the acquiring of animals in North Africa, including but not limited to crocodiles, zebras, hippos, North African ostriches, North African elephants, Barbary lions, and finally the Atlas brown bear. And so, poor animals were made to fight in amphitheatres for hundreds of years. This huge demand for the animal fighting led to around 3,500 North African elephants and 400 Barbary lions dying within only the reign of Julius Caesar. This horrifying practice is enough for many to claim that the North African elephant's extinction was partly or totally induced by this and hunting games in North Africa. And to be fair, there is a rightful correlation here. But the Atlas bear, though definitely reduced in range, survived. As firearms became more effective and cheaper to produce, game hunting began to become a popular pastime for colonizers. In 1870 in northern Morocco, at the Tétouan Mountains, the last animal was killed, marking the end to the first and last modern bear of Africa. The Barbary lion is one of my favourite animals. Though it is technically extinct, the genes of these animals persist today thanks to a ridiculously complex history, with many modern lions still being able to preserve the traits of these once glorious animals. So what distinguishes the Barbary or Atlas or Egyptian lion from its relatives? Well, modern descendants do not offer a good reference for these animals, as their body weight and other characteristics have been lost due to bad conditions and interbreeding with other subspecies. They had uniquely large and dark manes, being iconic imagery for the European obsession with lions. Some estimates put the body weight of a male at 270 to 300 kilograms, with modern tigers rarely exceeding 230 kilograms, though this size could be vastly overestimated for things like zoo collections and just people hyping up the animals. They at one point stretched all across the Barbary coast of North Africa, but due to desertification and the population increase of humans, pressure made them retreat into the Atlas Mountains. This is a large part of why they bear the nickname Atlas Lion, because it was the last place you could discover them. As we said earlier, thousands of Atlas bears and Atlas lions were brought into the amphitheatres to perform in circuses, fights, and hunting parties. 300 lions were killed under the Roman reign of Augustus Caesar. The Roman Emperor Trajan was said to have used 11,000 animals and 10,000 gladiators across 107 contests within 123 days. That's an average of 102 hamsters killed per contest. A method of punishment called ad bestias, usually done by Barbary Lions or Barbary Leopards, where they would maul criminals, was also used by the Empire. Tragically, after the fall of the Roman Empire, killing for sport would continue, and perhaps even increase. The Barbary Lion went from a funny way to kill your local pickpocket to an uncool and frankly annoying pest of the past. And so, poaching would become rather popular. After this, bounties were put on these animals, which led to whole tribes being committed to killing them. In addition to this, anyone killing the Barbary lions could sell their pelts tax-free, and oh do I know that's going in Project 2025. Between 1901 and 1910, there were no confirmed sightings of the Atlas lion. This iconic photo from 1925 truly illustrates the tragedy of the subspecies, with the animal almost literally facing extinction. Or it's just a toy someone placed in a desert, I genuinely can't tell. Anyway, the last recorded animal was shot in 1927. Still, many in the Atlas Mountains report the animals existing from 1942 to 1965. By 1948 they had certainly gone extinct in Morocco, with the last one in Algeria being sighted in 1956. Still, by the late 60s the wild Barbary lion population was thought to be zero, and so the valleys of the Atlas Mountain became even more empty. It was common practice in Morocco to keep Barbary lions as a show of status amongst the lords and of course the royal family. So luckily in 1953 the glorious Sultan Mohammed V was deposed and his family collection of allegedly 21 quote-unquote Barbary lions were housed in 2 zoos. In the German zoo of Neuwied, I can't be bothered to figure out how to pronounce that, the only known descended member of this collection has been identified, and recently had 5 cubs. For all we know, this could be the last remaining Atlas Barbary lion alive today. Further research has shown that remaining traces of the Moroccan king's lions and other collections are found in European zoo tigers, meaning likely the Barbary lion has been dissolved into the European zoo populations, living on in genetics. Today, these genetics are likely alive and well in zoo populations, with some individuals definitely possessing similar traits to their recently extinct relatives. But today it seems almost every Barbary lion individual is dead, and they are at least in the wild completely extinct. Fortunately, the Atlas Mountains still hold some elusive and fascinating animals today, and now we'll go into them. In North Africa, leopard distribution has been reduced by 97% of their former range. While most of these regions see a complete absence of leopards, a small relic population survives in the Atlas Mountains. Once thought to be completely extinct from North Africa, the Barbary leopard persists. They mainly hunt Barbary macaw, antelope, rodents, and birds. In the 1950s, an estimated 50 to 100 individuals were thought to be alive. How many today is really unknown. For the last 200 years, the Barbary leopard was mass hunted and experienced similar environmental issues to the Barbary lion. Of course, it didn't help that they were also used in ad bestias in the Roman Empire times, so their population along the Barbary coast saw a huge decline overall. But due to its elusive nature and the high 300 to 2,500 meters altitude it's usually found at, it managed to survive. In the lower grasslands of the Atlas Mountains, the Cuvier's gazelle resides. These animals, much like the Barbary lion, are treated as a pest by the locals due to their apparent threat to sheep grazing. In some regions, this has led to complete purging of these animals, but they still have a very fragmentary population of about 4,000 within the mountains. Luckily, reintroduction measures are being taken to help these animals eventually recover into the rest of the Atlas Mountains. The Atlas Mountains were once the last remnant of an age of biodiversity along the Barbary coast. Nothing besides remains today, but still, in some sad way, they can act as a reminder for how quickly such culturally significant giant lions, unique bears, and declining herbivores can disappear. It is quite astounding that at one time lions, leopards, bears, red deer, and elephants all lived alongside one another, separated by 13 kilometers from the Iberian Peninsula. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the last video on the Hanusuchus, and I hope you enjoy this one. I'm taking a bit of a shot in the dark here. We're going onto the mainland, but we're still kind of keeping it Lost World themed. I hope you all enjoy this, and thank you to my Patreons, Goji Berry, Toby, and Zendiatrix. Thanks for watching.